On the night of June 11th, 1962, Alcatraz witnessed an evening like no other. Three prisoners broke free from the world's most secure prison and vanished into the unknown. Alcatraz wasn't just any prison, it was built on a lonely island, surrounded by freezing waters and deadly currents. Escape wasn't only difficult, it was considered impossible. No one dared to even dream of breaking out. But on that night, three men did the unthinkable. They pulled off a plan so daring, so unbelievable, that even today, more than 60 years later, the world is still asking the same question. Did they really escape, or did the ocean swallow them alive? So who were these three men, and how did they manage the impossible? Let's step inside the walls of Alcatraz and uncover the story of the greatest prison break in history. Alcatraz, which is found on a rocky island in San Francisco Bay, about 22 acres of stone rising out of the ocean. The government built it to be inescapable. 15-foot fences, armed guards, constant surveillance, and the ocean itself acting as a natural moat. For years, it lived up to its reputation. Criminals dreaded being sent there, because if you made it to Alcatraz, you weren't supposed to ever leave. But four prisoners thought differently. Their leader was Frank Morris, a man of brilliant intelligence but a life wasted in crime. He had already escaped from several prisons before being locked up here. Then there were the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, both bank robbers, strong swimmers, and fiercely loyal to each other. The fourth man was Allen West, who had spent years inside Alcatraz and knew its every corner. West was the brains of the operation. He had discovered a weakness, a loophole in the prison's ventilation system. If they could widen the vents in their cells, they might have a way out. The four men secretly formed a pact. For nearly 2 years, the group worked in silence. They used stolen spoons and makeshift tools to chip away at the concrete surrounding their vents. Each night, they dug just a little more, hiding the noise during music hour when the prison allowed inmates to play instruments. To conceal the holes, they cleverly placed cardboard, paint, or even musical instruments in front of the openings. Meanwhile, they started building what they would need to survive the bay. From raincoats stolen inside the prison, they stitched together a raft and life vests. It was crude, but it might just work. And then came one of the most ingenious tricks of all, dummy heads. Made from plaster, soap, and real human hair stolen from the barbershop, these heads looked shockingly real. On the night of their escape, guards would see what appeared to be prisoners peacefully sleeping in their beds. On the evening of June 11th, 1962, the plan went into motion. One by one, the men crawled through the holes in their cells, slipping into the utility corridor behind the walls. They climbed up pipes to the roof, maneuvered across it, and dropped down the outside of the building. But something went wrong. Allen West couldn't get out. His vent was stuck, and he was forced to stay behind, watching his plan unfold without him. The other three, Morris and the Anglin brothers, reached the shore. There they inflated their makeshift raft, climbed in, and pushed off into the dark, freezing waters of San Francisco Bay. By morning, they were gone. At 7 a.m., guards began their routine head count. That's when panic spread. 3 men were missing. When guards rushed to their cells, they saw what looked like sleeping prisoners until they tried to wake them. The heads rolled off the pillows. They weren't real. The escape was exposed and chaos erupted. Immediately, the FBI, U.S. Marshals, and Coast Guard were called in. Helicopters and boats scoured the bay. Divers searched the waters, but the 3 men had vanished without a trace. Days later, investigators found scraps of evidence. A homemade paddle, bits of rubber, even personal belongings floating near Angel Island, just a short distance from Alcatraz. To many, this was proof the men had drowned. After all, the bay's waters were icy, the currents brutal, and the distance to shore unforgiving. But others weren't so sure. The Anglin brothers' family swore they had made it. Relatives claimed the brothers showed up in disguise at family funerals. One nephew said his father confessed on his deathbed that John and Clarence were safe. Even more shocking, a photograph surfaced years later. 2 men in Brazil, looking strikingly like the Anglin brothers. The FBI dismissed it, saying the ages didn't match. But conspiracy theories grew. Did Morris and the Anglins actually escape, build new lives, and outsmart the entire U.S. justice system? In 1979, the FBI officially closed the case. concluding the men most likely drowned. But the U.S. Marshals never gave up. To this day, the file remains open, officially until the men would be 99 years old, or until their deaths are proven. As for Allen West, the man who planned it all but never escaped, he told investigators every detail. Without him, the world might never have known how the impossible was even attempted. 1 year after the escape, Alcatraz prison shut down forever. Today, it's a tourist attraction. Visitors walk past the same cells, the same vents, and the same waters that once held America's most dangerous men. But one question will always haunt the island. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers sink to the bottom of the bay? Or did they pull off the greatest prison break in American history? Tell us in the comments section. We had love to hear your thoughts.